This is eCoffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to your show, eCoffee with Experts. This is your host, Ranmay here. And today we have Damon Wilson, who is a Lacrosse goalie coach and online business owner at Lax Goalie Rat with us. Hey, Damon, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me.
Lovely, Damon. Thank you so much for taking out time to do this with us. We do not have a lot of lacrosse coaches come onto our podcast. So this is going to be real fun. So yeah, why don't you talk us through your journey a bit? Why lacrosse as a sport, and how do you manage all of it being in Argentina and, kind of having your client base mostly in the US and Canada? Talk us through the sport a bit and then your journey, and we'll take it off from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I played lacrosse in college and it's really my passion. I just really fell in love with the sport. I could watch a lacrosse game every single day, and most times I do. And so really, the business comes from the passion. I then started coaching kids live and on the field, and transitioned that into an online business. And, like you said, you haven't had many lacrosse coaches. It's sort of a niche sport that is growing. Within that, I was only coaching the goalies. So I'm coaching a niche position within a niche sport, and loving it. And so, that's kind of the background of what lacrosse is. If you haven't seen it, I got a couple sticks on the wall here, sort of a stick and ball game. And it's amazing. I love it. And yeah, I get to work with kids who are mostly in the US. Like you said, I live with my wife in Argentina. And so everything that I do is virtual. And yeah, it's been great.
Okay. I have been a sports person myself, like we were talking about it in the green room, right? We have always thought of sports coaching as something which is being done in person, right? You have yourself played a sport. So what are the challenges or what is the fun part, of doing all the coaching part online? And how do you feel it is being absorbed, all the, kind of tricks or the process that you want your, kind of students to follow?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question because, like I said, lacrosse is a really growing sport. Like at the youth level, I don't have the numbers, but it's got to be like at the top of sports that are growing. And so what you have is parents who are then like coaching their kids' teams and they never played, let alone like goalie, like they never played the sport of lacrosse. And so like they're trying to figure out the sport. How do I play? How do I teach these kids? So they're kind of hungry for that information. And that's kind of where my coaching comes into play. Like I'm able to connect them to the top pros and college kids in the game and kind of give them that information. But to your point, there is no substitute for going out to the field and getting the reps. So I do think that, you have to do that. But there's also like a very solid market for like what I'm offering, which is just the top info, different drills, different exercises they can do. Hey, my kid's having problem with this type of shot or this type of play. How do I fix it? So I think there's, that's kind of where I come in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And the virtual summits, like you said, have become a very core growth engine for you, right? So
Yeah.
structurally, so what makes Lacrosse Goalie Summit convert from free attendance? Because like we were talking about it, you have these webinars and walk-in, setups and all these events, right? So how do you ensure, that actually converts to long-term community and then academy revenue?
Yeah. I think it's a couple things. I think it's the quality of the education, right? You come and you see some of these free events and you're like speaking with some of the top lacrosse coaches in the game, right? And it's just like, wow, this is like really good stuff. And when you sit through, an hour coaching session, it is like really hard to get everything in that first session. You're like, man, I got to watch this again, or I got to see this again, or what did that guy say? So I think like the quality of the education is one piece that, I'll have like 10 to 12 sessions over the course of 3 days. And for a lot of parents, that's really hard to attend, all of them. And so they'll see one and be like, wow, this was really great. Like I need to see the other ones, but I can't attend them live. So they're free to attend live. And then I offer like an all access pass, right? To get all of the replays. So that's one piece. There's a little bit of a scarcity element where, when I start the event, the price goes way up. And so, when we start the event, there's a huge rush of sales for people to get in at that price. So there's an element of scarcity there. And then, yeah, I think once you run a virtual summit and they see you, me, Damon, with all these professionals, it's like, wow, like this guy really is an authority in the niche. He knows what he's doing. He understands. I trust this guy. He's really passionate about the sport. That comes out when I'm doing the events and talking about the training. And yeah, I want to learn more with him. And so I think that kind of helps convert, not only to that all access pass, but then to some of the other trainings that I have.
you know, a lot of credit to you because sports coaching doesn't come easy, right? And doing it from a remote location again has its own challenges. So, what was the first operational bottleneck, that nearly capped your growth, and what structural change unlocked the next stage for you?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I'm solo. I do this by myself. I have a couple contractors that edit like my podcast and edit some videos for me, but it's really all me. So all the operational bottleneck is is pretty much all me. Um, yeah, I've used AI tools to really help me just kind of like do things so much faster. So before, like creating a social media post, where it might have taken 4 or 5 hours, like I can do that in like 20 minutes now. And so yeah, that's kind of been the operational bottleneck is just me. But I've really used the help of the AI tools to kind of win back my time and do tasks that took way longer. Now do them in a shorter amount of time. And now I can go do more high impact things like contacting the coaches and kind of setting up these trainings.
Hey, we hope you're enjoying the coffee and the conversation so far. This show is powered by Digital Web Solutions. And if you've ever wondered how the biggest brands actually build authority, this is it. DWS has a massive network of over 250,000 publishers, real sites that help you rank on Google, and more importantly, stay visible in AI search. It's the heavy lifting most teams just can't do on their own. As a thank you for listening, they're offering an exclusive free strategy call just for our eCoffee listeners. It's a great way to map out your authority plan for 2026. Just click the link below to book yours and see how they can help scale your brand. All right, now let's get back to the show.
And then if you have to rebuild it again, starting from zero audience today, right? So what would you replicate and then what would you architect differently from day one with so much of AI evolution now into play?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, like I said, when I started, I did, sort of long form blog posts and kind of built up some SEO cred that way. I probably wouldn't start that way now, just because that's such a long road. But I would do the virtual summits like from day one, really from day one, because that I think helps establish your authority. You get instantly. I mean, we get about 1,500 to 2,000 kids signed up for the summits, and so each time you run them, you get the audience built really quickly. So if I was going to do it all over again, I would do that for sure. I would monetize a lot sooner. I put out so much free content before, like, I got the nerve to put out a paid product. And so I would do that a lot sooner, kind of now with the confidence and just having talked to a lot of parents about the value that, I do provide. So I would put that out a lot sooner.
And then you were a goalie, right? So you started with goalkeeping as the specialist position to start your coaching. And then now you are expanding to other positions. So what triggered that decision making to further kind of move into coaching the defensive players and from other positions as well?
Yeah. The only, the difference is since I'm not a coach of those positions, I understand it a little bit enough to like talk to somebody about it, but I really have to bring in other experts to coach defense and to coach attack and to coach the girls lacrosse. So that's kind of what I've leveraged. I have, when I set up my virtual summits for the goalies, like I have the playbook, right? I have all of the emails, all of the automations, all of the web pages, all of like how the whole event can run very smoothly. I've got that playbook all set up. And so it was just a matter of like replicating it for the different positions and then finding, top level coaches who can help me and coach, right? And give those sessions. And so it was a little more work because, I don't understand the challenges that, an attacker might have versus like goalies. Yes, absolutely. And so it's a little more work to kind of dig into that, but it's been fun. It's been fun doing it.
Absolutely, I'm sure. And how do you think the role of community as a growth engine, will evolve as AI begins mediating more between human to brand interactions now.
Yeah, I mean, I think community is everything. I really do. Like the
I agree with that.
information. Yeah, I think the information is going to be like available. It's going to be out there. If you want to know drills to do for your young attack, like the information's there. And so, like, what's missing is just that element of community of like, hey, like, is your kid struggling with this? Or like, hey, like, my kid just scored 4 goals in a game. Like, I want to tell somebody, not AI, right? I want to tell some other parents who are like going to be really pumped up about it as me. And so, yeah, I just think I think community is everything. And so, I've got like a membership site as well. And like a lot of it is very focused on that community element of interacting with other parents. And a lot of parents know things too that like I don't, because like I have a 2-year old, I don't have an 11-year old. And so, they share things that even I don't know. And so I don't know, the community has been just a really important element of the business.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also agree in the power of community. I've seen kind of businesses evolve, right? Which has great communities, in person events like kind of domain actually demands, right? So anything in sport is so much in person. So community really helps
Right.
in, right? Like these pickup games, for example, right? You would not really know who are you playing against, but even if you're a single individual, you know that there will be 10, 20 people on the ground to kind of do that match, right? So you really
Right.
do not need to have to bring in your own team to kind of play every weekend, right? So
Sure.
community has its, has a lot of strength that way. Talking about marketing, so many founders still treat content as top of the funnel marketing. You treated it as an infrastructure initially when you started creating own blogs and all of that, and you set it up that way. So what is the difference in, how you think about content as an asset versus content as promotion?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, when I first started, I did all those long form blog posts, and they're really good. Like I was getting the same questions over and over, and so instead of answering them each to each kid, I would write that blog post and point them that way. And they're still like they still get me a lot of attention, right? And that's how a lot of people discover me. And then they get on my website and it's set up pretty well where they read that article and like click on another one and kind of just go down a rabbit hole. So yeah, that's kind of how I've set it up. And yeah, I don't know, top versus top of the market, top of the funnel marketing versus infrastructure. I mean, that's how I set it up and it's worked. And it's kind of, how I would do it again if I was going to, set up my website.
Well, what is the next expansion plan, Damon, for the business?
The next expansion plan is a membership site for the other positions. So attack, defense, girls lacrosse. So right now I have like, my membership site for goalies. And I want to build that out with kind of more training content, more coaches inside for the other positions. Because after you do these virtual summits, I mean, you have like a lot of attention and a lot of energy and a lot of kids that are like ready to continue working with you. And just for the other positions right now, I don't have anything. It's like, all right, I'll see you at the next virtual summit. And so, that's kind of what I'm working on at the moment.
Perfect, perfect, and good luck. I mean, like I said, kind of doing something as a business which you have really loved doing as a kid or as a young athlete, right? It's related to sports, your passion is really a blessing, right? Not everyone gets that opportunity. Not everyone picks up that battle, so to say, right? It's not easy. So, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Good luck with your future plans with Lacrosse Goalie. And thank you so much for taking out time to do this with us. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. It's a pleasure being here. Appreciate it.